Well, hello, everybody. I hope everybody had a good break and you're rejuvenated, you're relaxed, and ready to roll. As I say that, we're heading into the stretch run. So, we have our last 9 weeks coming up. So, let's finish strong. Got a couple things we're going to be doing. First thing we're going to encounter, though, is testing. And one thing is, at least you'll be getting the English portion out of the way quickly, as in this week. So, keep that in mind. So yes, it is that time again. All we ask is you do your best. So come in with a positive frame of mind and come in and do your best. That's all we can ask for you. The test dates are April 8th and 9th. Okay, so that's Thursday and Friday of this week. So keep that in mind. One thing I like to do is before testing, I know we all have anxiety, some worse than others, but everybody has a little bit of an anxiety. So sometimes it's good to have, whether it's relaxing techniques, I mean, just breathing, simply breathing techniques can be helpful. Visualization, and that's what we're going to talk about here. Now, this is also on your assignment for test taking, too. So, what I wanted you to do is think of a place where you feel calm and relaxed. Okay. So, in a paragraph, well written, do your best. Your 10th grade. Okay. Describe a place that makes you feel calm and relaxed. Now, this can be a place that you actually go to or one from your imagination. But what is something? And it can be, maybe it's a place by water, maybe it's a place in the woods, maybe it's your grandparents' house, maybe it's your room. But where's a place that you feel calm and relaxed? Describe this place, why you feel calm and relaxed. So take a moment and do that. Um, and it's good then when you are getting stressed or anxious to go back to this place and go back to this place and think, okay, let me just relax for a minute. Let me relax and then I'll refocus. Things are never as bad as they might seem. Okay. So take a moment and step back. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Some important test information on days when you're going to testing, try to get here by 7:30. There's a 2-hour delay bell schedule, and that's for everybody. And also, if you're a remote learner, then after the testing is done, all testing, okay, you can leave, but you got to be here for a certain amount of time for the testing. Since you need to be here for the testing, be ready to roll 7:30. Okay, so you're here and you're not rushing around. That should give you more than enough time. If you can get here earlier, that's fine too. Okay, as long as you have a test that day, again, try to be here by 7:30. It's going to be helpful to do that. Testing room information. No cell phones, smartwatches on you while taking the test. Otherwise, the test could be invalidated. If it goes off during the test, and this has happened before, there is a chance that that will be a zero and you won't get anything from it. So you can either leave it at home. You can leave it in if you have a locker, leave it in somewhere that's not on your person. There will be a box that you can put them in as you enter the classroom. Okay, you turn them off. There they are. Once you're in the classroom, you'll be in there until testing is over. You're not allowed to leave, to go home, or whatever it may be. Testing in each room might vary a little bit, but basically we're at 7:40 to 9:45 is what we're looking at. So if you finish that test in 5 minutes, then you will still be in the classroom until 9:25, 9:30, 9:40, whatever, with no phone or computer, okay, and not disrupting others. So keep that in mind as we're doing this. Go to the bathroom before the test. Hallway access is going to be limited. We don't want people roaming the halls, okay, and maybe disrupting others. You'll have different teachers stationed at different parts of the school, and they'll be wondering where you're going. Okay, so only one student out per class per time. Now, if there's an emergency and something crazy happens, then that can change. But right now, one student out per class per time. No talking until all students are finished with the test. That's just common courtesy. You want to make sure they can do the best they can. Bring something to write with. Brainstorming or outline purposes that can be helpful. Okay, you can use that to get everything out on the paper. You may read a book when you're finished with the test or do work with pencil and paper. You cannot do anything associated with the test you're currently taking. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay. Fourth period, here's where you're going to be. Actually, this is April 9th. This is location and the teachers you'll have. So fourth period, you'll be in with myself in room 105 with myself and Mr. Fuller. Fifth period, you'll be in room 104 with Mr. Wasowski and Mr. Condit. And sixth period, you'll be in room 109 with Mrs. Hoffman and Mr. Krieger. Okay. Other test dates, take a moment. You can look at these, whatever tests you might be taking. One thing is after this week, at least you got a couple weeks off. And I like that also they're more coordinated in Tuesdays and Wednesdays, throughout. But keep in mind that some of the other tests have been moved back. Not English, we're plowing through, okay? But the other tests have been moved back, so keep those dates in mind. You do know that there is an impact to the test. You do need to get certain number of points in order to graduate on the test. So just try to do your best. Okay, that's all. You guys can all do well. We know that. So that's all we ask. If possible, it can be a good idea to read over the multiple choice question first when you're doing multiple choice. So know that when you're looking at for while you're reading. Okay, so you sort of know what to look for. Like, oh, okay, the question's going to be asking this. So that could be a helpful hint for a multiple choice. Help your odds by getting rid of answers that you know are wrong. Like, and you're reading it, you're like, well, that cannot be it. So, if there are 4 possibilities and you can, go down to at least 3, all right, your odds have increased dramatically. You can go down to 2, again, another big increase, okay? So there's nothing wrong with doing that. Take your time and know what the question is asking you, all right? So we're going to discuss the practice test, and there are readings. So these are all up on the modules. Okay, so actually I'll escape and I'll show you what the readings are. And so right now, if you're not in the classroom, take a moment, pause this, go to the readings. And here we have, the readings are Pandora. Okay, they're all on Pandora. Okay, not the radio thing, system for music, no. But the passages all deal with Pandora. The first one you'll see is prose. It's passage 1 from a book of myths by Jean Lang. Always read anything before that. Read whatever they give you here so you know it can be very helpful. And this, it gives you a really good background information. That is very helpful. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, then you'll read that. After that, passage 2 is from Longfellow, okay, and it's poetry that he wrote. All right, so it's a different form. All right, so read that passage. Make sure you take your time reading it over. And then this one has the picture. Now, in what we're going to be going over, they don't really identify anything with the picture, but sometimes you also have a visual aid. And this is as Pandora raised the lid, the cottage grew very dark. Now, this gives you a visualization of maybe what I'm looking at and what I'm reading, and it does. It's Pandora opening up the box, okay? So keep that in mind, all right, as you are reading. So go ahead, read that. Stop, pause this, go ahead, find that. That's on the module. It's on your weekly schedule. I'm sure everybody's doing that. And then we're going to sort of just go over some multiple choice questions about these readings. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. So let's get back to the question. So we look at the first question. According to passage 1, what does the myth of Pandora seek to explain about the world? So is it trying to explain how evil first came to exist, how guilt first came to be realized, how people began to betray one another, how people learned to explore their surroundings? So if you're looking at this, you're thinking, okay, which ones fit the best? Okay, now you can, indeed, there is nothing there at all. And again, remember, this is passage 1 you're looking at. This is the prose, the first one. So there is nothing in that at all that you're talking about exploring your surroundings. So you can at least go down to 1, 2, 3. C is really rather weak. So I think what you're looking at is maybe A and B. You can at least whittle it down, I think, to that, if not A, B, and C. And then go back and look, and it specifically tells you this idea of evil and how all these evil things came out to destroy this perfect world, okay? And that's what came of it, all right? So A would have been your answer there, all right? In passage 1, how does paragraph 4 help develop the central idea about the character's relationship with the gods? Go back to paragraph 4. Refresh your memory, okay? Think about it. Now think about these questions it's asking you, okay? Is it A, describing how characters must rely on each other rather than the gods, creates a rift between the two groups? The idea that the characters have prior knowledge of the plans deepens the character's connection to the gods. The fact that the characters receive some mercy show that the characters feel that balance has been restored, or showing that the characters are upset with the gods complicates the relationships between the two groups. All right. So again, paragraph 4, I'm reading it. I've gone over it. Which one would you choose? Okay. And think about it. I want you to actually have one that you're going to choose. Okay. So the answer, C. The fact that the characters receive some mercy shows that the characters feel the balance has been restored. So this idea of, of hope comes through. All right. So that's what you want to look at when you're reading. Okay. Make sure you're doing everything it's asking you to do. I've looked at paragraph 4, I've reread it, and now I answer the question. Okay. Read the sentence from passage 1. And the long imprisoned evils rushed forth upon the fair earth, and on the human beings who lived on it. Malignant, ruthless, fierce, treacherous, and cruel, an ugly wolf pack indeed was that one let loose by Pandora. So based on the sentence, what is the meaning of the word malignant? Okay, and you can use alarmed, enormous, doesn't really fit. Hasty, wicked, ruthless. So what I think you're doing, again, you can really wiggle this down. So which one do you think it is? All right. Wicked is what we're looking for. Wicked. And that goes with everything there. Wicked, ruthless, fierce, treacherous, and cruel all go together. Okay. And that's how maybe you can use context and how all the what it's saying around it. Okay. An ugly wolf pack indeed. So it's gotta be bad things. Enormous, hasty, alarm. None of those are as bad. Like wicked really fits perfectly in that. In passage 2, which effect do lines 1 through 8 create? So you go back to passage 2. Look through lines 1 and 8. Pandora's change of attitude creates a sense of surprise. A delay in Pandora's confession about her action builds suspense. Establishing a conflict between Pandora and Epimetheus builds tension. Suggesting how Pandora and Epimetheus might solve a problem creates mystery. So think about it. You go back to 1 and 8, 1 through 8, lines 1 through 8. In the second passage, and ask yourself which one best connects to it. A delay in Pandora's confession about her actions builds suspense. And that's what Wordsworth is trying to do in that poem, that part of the poem. Good. Hopefully everyone got that right. In passage 2, what effect does the dialogue in lines 14 through 25 create? So now you're going 14 through 25. Go back. You have time. You do not have to rush. Go back and look at this. You have 2 hours. Okay? It increases surprise by describing related events from the past. It creates drama by introducing a conflict over who is to blame. It inspires a sympathy by explaining the motivations of the characters. It builds suspense by introducing a new problem the characters must solve. So I look at this. Can I take any out? What do I think it is? So which one do you think it is? Creates drama by introducing a conflict over who is to blame. And they're both, this idea of who really is to blame, and they're both sort of trying to take the blame themselves on that. This question has 2 parts. First, answer part A, then answer part B. This happens all the time, the part A, part B answers. What theme is suggested by the events in passage 2? Again, this is the second passage. And this is why you need to be a careful reader. Okay, so I know which one I'm focusing on. Together, people can get over despair and find a better solution. Sometimes it's easier to ignore difficulty than to dwell on it. The punishment for a crime often outweighs the offense. Love is a mysterious gift that must be nurtured. So I think about that. I go back, again, refresh your memory on passage 2 as a whole. Okay, and there's a part A, part B. Okay, so which one do I think is the best theme? Make a choice. Together, people can get over despair and find a better solution. Okay, that's my choice. Now, as always, whenever you have a part A, part B, most likely you're going to have to find evidence to support it. So which detail from passage 2 helps develop the theme in part A? Now, if you read all these, and you realize none of them connect with your theme, you might be off with your theme. Okay? Pandora believes that all that remains for her is anguish. Does that connect with my theme? Prometheus tells Pandora that he is to blame for leaving her alone. Does that connect to my theme? Pandora describes the external forces as a way to rationalize her mistake. Prometheus uses birds as a way to explain how he and Pandora will move on. There you go. That connects directly with that theme. None of the other ones really do. So keep that in mind. You need to make sure you get the theme right, and then, okay, do I have something that supports it? All right. How does passage 2 transform the source material of passage 1? Okay, let me think. It judges Pandora's actions by taking a more critical position on her decision. It highlights Epimetheus's negative attributes, by showing his conflict with the gods. It emphasizes Pandora's past by explaining how she came to be beloved by the gods. It deepens Epimetheus's emotional struggle by making him a more active participant. So, I'm taking now both those passages and putting them together. What do I come up with? It deepens Epimetheus's emotional struggle by making him more an active participant. So we see their interaction more. Okay, we see that emotion from him and her. And we see their relationship a lot more too. You also will be writing at least one essay per each day. You're going to have to write one essay. Okay, that's been in the past. I would assume they're not changing that. So more than likely, you're going to have to write probably to inform about a topic. Therefore, your writing is going to be more objective and factual. Okay, now it could be argumentative and it could be a narrative, where a narrative is where you tell a story. Just be aware, whatever it could be. Sometimes just switch them up. So a lot of times you're going to have to be asked to compare readings. That's why they have these different readings, and you'll compare something to them. Or you'll use the readings maybe for an argument. That can happen too. That's it. So you just got to be ready. That's why be sure you understand what is being asked. What are they asking me? That's why I need to plan my essay. You're going to use that information from the source and then write the essay. But know what the essay is asking first, and then read the text given to you, okay? So some direct quotes, always good to use direct quotes. Watch out, though, because an extensive use of direct quotes, say you use a paragraph, okay, the computer is going to look at this as plagiarism, and then you'll get a 0. So you kind of want to use evidence in direct quotes, but don't overdo it. Hit that quote that helps support what you're saying, and then explain it in your own words, okay? All right, explain the connection in your own words. For every sentence of a quoted text you use, you need to write 2 sentences of your own thoughts. Otherwise, it will just look like plagiarism. And that's how the computer grades it. Again, computers grade these, not people, okay? That's just the way it is. So keep that in mind. Planning the essay is helpful. You're going to do better if you take some time just to plan. Brainstorm, get that thesis out, create an outline. You can use the folded paper technique. I know in middle school they taught you this. So you fold the paper up. This is going to be my intro, my body, my conclusion. This is how I'm going to write it. Okay, so you can use that. And make sure you have something on your paper there that can be helpful to look at. Don't brainstorm an outline and then don't use it. That doesn't help you. Okay, it's doing nothing for you if you don't use it. Okay, so use it. If you have an outline, go back to it. Make sure your outline is to help you with organization. So make sure you're remaining focused and organized in what you're doing. The essay format, you need the following. Make sure they're sectioned appropriately. Whether it's a space or indentation, you need to make sure that you're doing this, okay? This will actually help your scores because it will show that it looks organized. You have an intro that ends with your thesis statement. You have a body of at least one, if not more than one body paragraph. And then you have your conclusion where you're going to restate the thesis, summarize the body paragraphs. You're going to leave an impression for your reader. Be sure, again, we have the brainstorming techniques for web, listing, free write. Can have those at least 3 paragraphs in your outline, intro, body, conclusion. I'm hammering these home because they're important. Okay, you need to do that. Introduction, grab the attention of your reader, but connect what you're doing with the topic. All right, tell them what you're writing about, end with your thesis. Remember, your thesis is what your paper is going to be about. Your thesis should be the last sentence of your introductory paragraph, and that's going to be that roadmap to what I'm writing. You describe what you're writing about or give full support for your answer, okay? So depending on the body, at least one, if not more than one. You have your support, and then explain how that support connects with your answer. Completely explain it. Now you can use a couple things of support and do a couple explanations, but make sure you're writing enough so it doesn't look like there's plagiarism involved. Okay, make sure it connects to the writing prompt. Make sure you're focused. And again, you can do that. That's where that outline helps you maintain that focus. Okay. Conclusion, restate the thesis. Try not to, if you have to use the same thesis, go ahead. Try to restate it if you can. Address the points you've made, and then be sure to write about why this is important to you, to others. Leave an impact, some form, okay, of an impact there. The rubric, we're going to, okay, just want to show you real quick what the rubric looks like here. So ELA rubric and information. You'll notice this is how they grade an essay. It's actually a 10-point overall scale, 4 points for purpose, focus, and organization, 4 points for evidence and elaboration, and then 2 points for conventions of standard English. Okay, so again, the response is sustained and focused. That's important. You know your audience. You're writing formally. Okay. So the response provides thorough and convincing support, citing evidence. Okay. And, it's integrating this together. All right. You can have definitions, quotations, examples, demonstrating understanding and expression of ideas. You're using different sentence structure and language. Okay. So this is how they grade it, and all the way down to 0. 0 means you really didn't do anything. Okay, you just didn't even put any effort into it. Now I know that's not going to be anything we have to worry about because you guys are all work hard. All right, so back to here, and I just want to make sure you're getting all this, you're understanding that you're looking at that rubric. Here's a prompt that was given. The Pandora readings were actually ones used in a previous test. I want to say 18. And this was the prompt. Passages 1 and 2 portray Pandora's character somewhat differently. Construct a multi-paragraph. More than one. And since it's an essay, at least 3, if not more. Written response in which you analyze Pandora's actions in each passage, such as how her actions affect other characters, advance the plot, and develop the theme. Your response must be based on ideas that can be found in the passages. So what you might want to do is say, okay, let me look at this. So I'm using passages 1 and 2. I need to make sure I have evidence from both of those. I need to construct this written response, analyzing her actions in each passage. How do they impact other characters? How do they make the plot? How do they advance the plot? We talked about this earlier with Macbeth, advancing the plot, and how to develop the theme. How do they help develop themes? So this is asking a lot of different things. How am I going to address each of these? How am I going to show how our actions affect other characters? Advance the plot and develop the theme. When I think about this sets me up for a 5-paragraph essay. I have my intro. I have paragraph 1 right here, body paragraph 1 right here, how her actions affect other characters. And I can use both those passages to see that, to show that. Advance the plot. How do they advance? How does her actions advance the plot in each one of them? And how do they help to develop the theme? Now, you've already talked about the theme earlier. Think about those multiple choice questions. Use that theme. If you can, for whatever reason, if you're not coming up with any other one, that's there you go. You already have that theme. It's there. Go use it. Okay. Use that evidence to support it. Okay. You can always help yourself with some of these other things. So your ideas must be based on ideas that can be found in passages. And this is the thing that, like it says, manage your time, review the passages, plan your response, write a thorough response, and revise and edit. Be sure to include an introduction. It's telling you include an introduction. Then it's telling you use evidence to support your explanation. Those are the body paragraphs. And then include a conclusion. Write your multi-paragraph response in space provided. So you don't have to do that, but we're going to show you what I want you to look at. In a moment, we're going to look at examples of it. So what I do want you to do, though, is take a moment. All right, you've read that over. And this is also on your tips for testing assignment. Organize an outline for me over that essay prompt. 5 minutes. If you need more, that's fine too. I wouldn't go overboard with the outline. 5 to 10 minutes, and that is more than enough time. How are you going to organize it? What are you going to try to show? Okay. What is your thesis? What is this about? Okay. So take a moment, do that outline. All right. Again, you can pause this, do it now, or you can do it later. That's fine too. Now, what we're going to do is look at 3 essays too. So let's escape here. All right. And this is on the module. It has essay examples on it. And this actually gives you the scoring system. Like if you want to look at the score. So 1 point is, this essay, this doesn't even look like an essay. I went right by it. That's how bad this is. This is what somebody, and these are X1s people put in, So they, first of all, 1 paragraph, not much thought. I mean, you can just look, it's not, it's 3-4 sentences. In the paragraphs, Pandora's box starts out in a lovely world that has no evil of any sort, with Pandora and Prometheus living a really happy life. But there's a box that is not supposed to be opened for any reason, and in the box there's evil. On example for the text is, in all faith and with all courage that is born of faith and love, open the lid of the prison house of evil. When Pandora opened the box, she let all the evils out in it. Again, there's no organization, no idea what they're even talking about. Okay, they got 1 point is actually probably a gift. Okay, because they wrote something. Now, we also give you then, here's an example of a 5-pointer. You'll notice that you have an intro, you have your body, and you have a conclusion. Again, that's only 5 points though. Okay, but at least there's organization, there's structure. Take a moment, read it, you have it, and sort of see how they got to the 5 points. And then finally, there's their 10-point. Here's your perfect response, and look at how they have this 1, 2, 3. So here's your 5 paragraphs, your intro, body 1, body 2, body 3. Look at these transitions in addition to bringing out qualities. Lastly, in conclusion, and there's your concluding paragraph. Okay, so take a moment, read these over, really look at this 10-point response. You can all do this. Okay, this can happen. All right, it just takes time and effort, but you guys can do it, no doubt in my mind. All right, so let's get back here. So look at those and take a moment to really study the good one and say, okay, how can I do this good one? There are incentives. There's a student checklist for incentives. We have, as a department, have developed checklists for this. Students who get all checks on this will get an incentive. This has been approved by the administration. So the checklist is not that difficult, that you're physically present, that you're engaged during the testing, i.e. no sleeping, no head down, no looking down, no doodling, that you make meaningful use of the scrap paper, especially for an outline. Now, we can't read what you have on it. We can look to see if you've done something that looks like it's meaningful, but we can't read it. So we know that. You take an hour to work on the test so that you're working on the test for an hour, that you're really doing your best on it, and you avoid distracting others during the testing session. That's all we're asking. And we'll have an incentive, movie and food, take place in early in May, and it'll be the choice of teachers and students with teacher having veto power, okay? And those who do not meet the incentive will have other work which they can be done in science with no cell phone. So keep that in mind. All right, as we're doing this. So if you have any questions, anything at all, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. I know there's a lot there, went over a lot. So that was one of our longer ones. So, but I do appreciate you taking the time to look this over and really go over this with me. So take care, good luck, and you're going to do awesome. All right.